as far as appraisals go, like now,
Yeah.
like I keep telling people that this is such a good gap in what you could get a property for versus what you could get appraised out for, where we, the first half of the decade, that was tough. It was a crapshoot. Like, give us some insight on kind of the activity of appraisers you're seeing, or how aggressive, or how investors are kind of winning.
What's interesting is that it seems like a lot of, first of all, the biggest problem is internally. So a lot of these appraisers are giving the numbers, and then it gets adjusted. When the appraisal is done, it has to go back to the bank, and the bank's underwriter has to go through with a fine-tooth comb and figure out if it's correct and if they're comfortable lending based on this information. So a lot of times they will make adjustments there. So you wonder, like, I've gotten appraisals back, made 0 sense. So I call the appraiser up. I'm like, hey, John, where did this 175 come from? And they're like, that's not me. I'm like, son of a. And so then I realized that that bank is either redlining, or they just don't want to, they just don't want to lend in that area. And I've seen my share of that over the years. I think right now, more than any time in the history that I've been in business, that banks are allowing more freedom for increases in value. I mean, there was a time in the early 2000s where you literally couldn't get a price increase. It was crazy when the market was dipping, and now I feel it's the other way. There's other things too that are going on. That there's I would reach out to a lot of people and say there's a lot of there's a lot of mistakes. I'll throw 2 gems at you today. First and foremost is when you get an appraisal back and it's adjusted down by an appraiser due to seller's concessions, that is no longer an acceptable practice if it's common in the area. So there's a Fannie Mae Directive 3. I've done this so many times. I know this one by heart. Fannie Directive 301 period 03, 30103. So that basically says, in a nutshell, if you're if you're paying seller's concessions, that the appraiser is not to reduce value based on the seller's concession if it's commonplace for the area.